Hello, hello. Hi, everyone. We'll give just a couple minutes to get started here. Today is Tuesday, and we are doing, or I am doing, Thoughtful Tuesdays. And if you need to find me for anything, of course, you can always go to my website, www.overcomingmyself.net, where you can reach out to me for anything that you want as far as health coaching or just dietary needs in general, or just whatever. But anyway, I am wanting to get together with everybody today to talk about dreams, basically. um, I think a lot of us with multiple sclerosis and other autoimmune, we get so caught up in our lives of just trying to be healthy and have some sort of life, because many of us have not been very good with our bodies and ourselves, and so we are in a place where we're not very healthy, and so we're really just struggling to get by, and we're trying to survive, and we forget about what the things that we might enjoy doing and living and stuff. And one of the things that I have recently wanted to start doing is a food truck. And I know that that seems, well, it seems kind of crazy to me, actually. Ever since I've been doing my journey of food and eating differently, I always come across things that I'm just like, man, I really wish that this was easily accessible for everybody. It's very frustrating to have to eat basically like a salad everywhere I go. And that's if I'm lucky, because most of the dressings are terrible and made with, terrible oils and stuff. And so they have to be plain, or I can only use like a squeeze of lemon and stuff on them. And anyway, when I come across a place that I can actually get something and not fear having an inflammatory response, it's super exciting, right? So, I mean, like one of my fondest memories is actually when I went to Florida last year. And, we went to a ice cream shop, and this ice cream shop actually offered dairy-free options. And I was ecstatic because I could actually have ice cream with my family, because at the time I wasn't having dairy or gluten or anything. And so I could just get the plain ice cream and I didn't have to worry about anything. And so it was just amazing. And I would really love the opportunity to offer that to people. So, whenever they go to the farmer's market or they go to a fair, that there is something there that they can enjoy and feel indulgent with their family, but not fear like having to, like, oh, I'll just deal with the pain that I'm going to feel tomorrow, or I'll just deal with whatever it is, because they know that their body is going to freak out by it. So I really, really want to do like a food truck. I thought about starting like a restaurant, but then, first of all, that's a huge, huge undertaking that I really don't want to get into. But then my husband was like, "Well, what about a food truck?" And I thought, "Oh my gosh, it's actually not a bad idea." I mean, it's something that was definitely more manageable as far as like the size of it and whatnot versus a restaurant. The mobility, I love the idea of having something mobile, because everything that I know of in my area, I know where the restaurants are. There's like three of them that I can go to and know that I can get something completely gluten free, dairy free, egg free, so on and so forth. And that's great that I know where those are and that we have them. But I think that it would be awesome to have something that is in the like the farmers market type things, or the fairs, or just something that is mobile and that will be, where different food trucks are and stuff like that. So I'm really excited about the thought process, or the thought of it. And then I turn around and I get super intimidated by the um, logistics of it, or at least what I think are the logistics of it. I know nothing about running a food truck at all. So, but when I start looking into, the cost of buying a food truck, and okay, so I have to consider, yes, I want to find something that I can serve, that is beneficial to people with dietary restrictions, but I have to figure out, what needs I have to have met in order to do this. So I might need my wheelchair because I'm not going to be able to stand for all that time. Well, I say I'm not going to. Maybe I shouldn't use that terminology. It's doubtful, but let's just say maybe I will be able to. But regardless, in case I can't, I need to have, I need a space that's big enough for my wheelchair. So that pretty much nixes all the trailers are out, which I don't really want a trailer anyway. I would rather have a truck. Why would I rather have a truck? Because I don't want to mess with having to have somebody that can tow it and park it. And then, I need to be able to be with the truck. So I can bring it in, I can park it, I can do what I need. Being, using a wheelchair outside of my house means that I'm not going to be able to, park it and then go and park and then come back to it, so on and so forth. So I think it's really important that I have a truck and not a trailer. Well, when you start looking at that, you're getting it more into cost, right? So I have to consider all the different things as far as that. And then I need the equipment that I need. Well, in order to know what equipment I need to know what I'm going to be serving. And so, as you guys know, I've done some, like I asked you guys, like, what would you guys like to see if you would come to a food truck? And the overwhelming response was definitely dairy and gluten-free stuff. I hesitate to do anything as far as the gluten-free is concerned because I am not currently gluten-free as long as I'm doing my self-milled grains. And so part of me really wants to introduce that somehow, like maybe through cookies or something like that. But I also know that people that are, following a gluten-free diet for inflammatory purposes and don't understand the whole fresh milled grain thing, would not understand the benefits of that just through a food truck. So I'm not really sure how to incorporate that. So then my next thought process is that maybe I'll do an ice cream type truck where it's like, dairy-free ice cream. So it takes me back to my memory of being in Florida. And, when I was so excited about having dairy-free ice cream, I could do dairy-free ice cream and I can do sugar-free ice cream. For people who, are diabetic or anything. And, maybe has some toppings or whatever to kind of change it up. And I think that for physical capability, I feel like ice cream would be something that's doable. But again, starting to look into, I don't know, it's just, there's so many different things that I would love to do. And I would just want to get more food out into the world that people can have accessible and that's just normally wouldn't be there. So I would love, and it doesn't have to be right now. I know that a lot of people will be watching this later or whatnot, but I would love any sort of feedback. If anybody has any knowledge of good idea. I mean, I'm literally starting from the ground. I need a truck. I need to get the equipment for the truck. If it doesn't already have it in there, I really, really would like something with like a handicap lift. So I've been kind of looking into like the shuttle vans that would be from like back and forth to airports kind of thing, where they have the lift already in them. And then also I was looking into the shorter buses. A lot of those have lifts, wheelchair lifts already in there. And so I know that I would like something like that. It is wide enough that I can get my equipment and my shelving and everything in there and still have room for myself in the wheelchair and whatnot. And So anyway, those are the two things I'm looking for. But then I have to get the equipment. So if you guys have any information on equipment, if you guys have any information or tips about, where to take food trucks and just different things to do, I am open to all of it because I am brand new to all of it. I just one of the things about MS is that a lot of us tend to really think that we're not capable of doing things. And sometimes it really does feel that way because, like, I know I have to be very, very careful about the menu that I choose because I struggle with cooking dinner for my family, let alone for hundreds of people, right? So I have to really think about what is it that I'm trying to provide for a menu. I go back to the cookies. Like, I really would love to be serving cookies and ice cream. But everything has to be done on the food truck. And I don't know if I can handle that kind of demand up front. And so, and not to mention the fact that since everything has to be done on the food truck, that would mean more equipment. I'd have to have the ice cream equipment and the cooking equipment for baking. So anyway, I'm almost thinking maybe I start out with ice cream and like work my stamina up. So just like with, being in the kitchen, like I spend a couple of hours in the morning in the kitchen every morning doing stuff for myself, whether it be baking breads or making smoothies or making my breakfast or whatever it is. I'm usually in there for a couple of hours. It took me a while to build up my stamina to get to that point. And then it was like, well, I was done by midday, and I sure as shit wasn't cooking for dinner for anybody, which worked out fine because at the time my husband worked evenings. So I would just heat myself up something and I was fine. I didn't have to worry about that. Well, now my husband is home in the evenings, and I personally like to try to have dinner for us, and it's just a time that I like for us to spend together. And I had to work up the stamina of being able to actually cook for us. And I don't cook for us every night. I typically do like an every other night type thing, and we do leftovers and whatnot. So my point is that maybe with this food truck thing, maybe it's going to be a stamina sort of thing where I, start out with just the basics of just doing the ice cream. And then as I start to learn it and start to build my stamina of the process and whatnot, then maybe I can move into adding more stuff. But I'm really curious about, what you guys think as far as, I've got to, so the biggest part obviously is going to be marketing, right? I'm not going to have very much money to go into like painting and doing all that kind of stuff up front. So I will have to have like signage and whatnot. If you guys have any like ideas as far as like menu wise, what to do, I do know that it's all going to be natural. I know that everything I use is going to be organic, and nothing artificial. And I'm talking about like not even things that have natural flavoring in them. Like it's going to be real food. And so, I mean, I can tell you that, oh, hey, Elaine, yes, thank you for asking that question. I have thought about fruit smoothies. I actually thought about it being ice cream and smoothies to start out. So that would be, another thing that I can offer that would be dairy free and a truly sugar free without any artificial sugaring stevia or anything else being used. So yes, I have thought about the smoothie thing, and that would work out well also because I wouldn't need any overhead ventilation system or anything because there's no cooking or anything involved in that. The only thing that worries me about the fruit smoothies is that depending on how busy the food truck gets, it could be exhausting for me as far as having to clean the blenders in between and whatnot. So that's the only thing that makes me a little bit hesitant. But I would just have to make sure that, I think anyway, that the setup of my truck has just got to be in a way where It's all just really easily accessible to me. And so there's, minimal. And I don't know. I mean, it might be something where I need somebody's help. I would like to think that I can do it all on my own, but we'll see. So, but yes, thank you. That is something that I was thinking about. And then on the fruit smoothie side of it, do a lot of places that do smoothies have like a lot of add-ins, and I don't want a lot of those things where, I mean, I have to keep it true to what I believe is going to be, healthy for everybody. So obviously that's as natural as possible. And so I really hesitate as far as like adding in like a bunch of powders and stuff like that. I really want it to be like true fruit smoothies and stuff. So yeah, that's definitely something that I want to consider as well. So that's actually probably going to be the two things. And then maybe from there, I can start, getting into some baking or something. I found out that you can't cook something at home and take it to the food truck. Like it all has to be done on the food truck. So whatever I do, I have to have the equipment for on the food truck, which makes sense. I mean, because, they don't inspect my house or anything. And I get that, but it still sucks because that means I can't prep anything the night before since it all has to be done on the food truck. So anyway, so yeah, I'd love any more ideas as far as like menus. So far, I've thought about the possibility of, along the lines of being like refreshments. I thought of smoothies, real lemonade that's sweetened with like raw honey or real pureed strawberries. I thought about herbal teas. I thought about organic coffee with nut milks and maple syrup for sweetener. I thought about ice cream, obviously. And then I thought from there, as far as like, okay, well, if I did get into cooking, what would I want to do? And I keep going back to having the fresh milled grains. This is where my issue really comes because I know that everybody is thinking like they have to be gluten-free, 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 and that's just not something that I do anymore. So this is where I really struggle because I want to make like cookies and breads and stuff like that, but I don't want to do gluten-free. I don't want to put my efforts into gluten-free. So that's why at this point I'm like, well, maybe I should just stand back as far as anything baking right now. But then another part of me really wants to teach about the importance of fresh milled grains and what they can do for you. So it's this inner struggle. It's this battle I have going on. So I'm not really sure yet as far as that goes. And then my husband thought, well, maybe instead of doing like that kind of stuff in the food truck, you can just have a booth for the farmer's market. And because I think at the farmer's market, I'm pretty sure you can bring like your baked goods from home and stuff, which would be so much easier for me. So I don't know. That's something to think about as well. And again, I know nothing about any of it. So that's what I thought about as far as menu wise is concerned. I thought at one point in time about maybe, because again, I'm making breads and stuff. I was doing like raw cheese for the occasional dairy. I thought about maybe doing a grilled cheese with my fresh milled grain bread and the raw cheese. But then I was like, oh, I don't know. Sandwiches would be really high demand as far as my energy levels are concerned. And when you do start getting into like cheeses and stuff like that are high quality, you are talking about some expense. So I would really have to charge a lot for a grilled cheese. So I don't know, probably won't be doing that quite yet. What else? I've thought about some names. I got to figure out some names, and it's got to really draw the attention. So let's see if I can get my computer to work. I got new Google Fiber this weekend, and I'm honestly not sure if it's any better or not. As far as I'm going to have to watch this video. Every time I watch the video, afterwards, I always find that there's areas where I am dropped or lost or whatever for a little while, just a few seconds, really, I think, but I never really realize it until I go back and watch it. So I'm curious if that happens this time. Anyway, so a couple of names that I've thrown out, and please throw out some names as far as what you would think it's really got to grab the attention. And at this point, because I'm gathering all of it, I don't care how stupid you think it sounds. I'm gathering all the names, and then once I finally figure out my menu, I can see all the available names of what we thought of and pick one. So at this point, I've got organically sweet, sinfully wholesome, wholesome indulgence, purely organic, blissfully natural, refreshingly organic, and anti-inflammatory haven. So those are what I have so far, and I would love any more thoughts as far as names are concerned. Like I said, no name is a stupid name. I'm going to put them all in the pile, and then when it all comes down to it, we'll have to pick one. So that's really all I've got at this point, guys. I really don't have much. I'm just talking about the food truck dream. It is in the very, very beginning stages. I don't know if it's ever going to come to life or not. If it's going to be a very, very slow process, because it takes money, and I don't have a lot of that up front. And, I just want to make sure that I'm doing this right by my family. So the goal is to find a food truck, and then little by little find the pieces of the pie that I have to fill it with. And so I don't know, it might even be next year or whatnot, but that's okay, whatever it takes. So let me look at this comment real quick. I know a guy who runs the farmers markets in Olathe. He is into wholesome food. He would be interested. Oh, nice. And the fresh milled flour products. Awesome. I would love any sort of the hookups or whatever to understand what I need to do in the farmers markets. I have to be a little bit careful with the farmers market, because again, I have to make sure that I have somebody that's helping me, because I can't get anything into it. But my husband says that he will help me, and I know he will. But I also know that it's a early and long day, and so I want to make sure that I'm as efficient as possible. But I would love any sort of help and resources that you guys have. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. I appreciate you guys so much for being with me. I hope that, this whole thing obviously was about what I'm doing with the food truck and everything. And I just want you guys to recognize that it really doesn't matter what you're going through in life. Life really is about perception. And if you think that you can't, then you can't. And if you think you can, because you will find a way to make it happen. And I have no idea what's going to come of this, but by God, we're going to see. So, all right. I hope you guys are all having a great Tuesday, and I will see you next Tuesday. It might be, I actually have no idea what for. We'll see. My weeks are really starting to fly by, and I apologize. I always feel like I'm completely unprepared now. I never really know what I'm going to be talking about on Tuesdays, and it's because I barely have, they're flying by, and the weather's starting to get nice, and so we're just kind of always on the go. If there's anything that you guys want to talk about topic-wise, as far as health and dietary or autoimmune or any of it, honestly, throw it out there to me, and we'll see if we can't get a discussion going on about it. So, all right, guys, I'm going to let you go. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time.